Five, four, three.
Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Mephisto, and always with me, my hetero life mate, all my feelings, who seriously disapproves of any and all soundboards. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening.
A big note. What is the Reel McCoy, you might ask? Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go watch a movie. You watch it, come back to us, and we geek out on it, break it down, and have fun with it. Today, we continue our midlife crisis month with Lost in Translation, and we have a special guest, Lofty Pixels. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Glad to be here. I like this movie a lot.
Awesome. It was a spare of the moment, but we actually love to have you on because you said to me on the DMs like, dude, I watched this movie so many times. I fucking love this. And you can tell from your background. I did tell you this before, but it's fucking great.
I have this canvas on my wall right now. It's a giant canvas.
That's pretty good.
I have this right next to a Pacific Rim poster and then an In the Mood for Love poster. It's a really nice canvas.
I personally wouldn't put it next to a Pacific Rim poster, but that's just me.
Yeah. It's on my movie wall.
Awesome. Before we kind of dive in, if you want to reach the show, want to reach me, DMs on Twitter are completely open to the public. Same goes with Instagram's Mephisto79 there. Email the show, the Reel McCoy podcast at gmail.com. And of course, you can catch Mr. Lofty Pixels on YouTube and on Twitter as well. These are the links. What do you have? What are you doing lately, Lofty? What you been doing lately?
Doing random things, I'm gaming Final Fantasy 16, Zelda, and then I'm doing a movie stream next week. So we're going to be doing a tier list. I'm I'm ranking. I'm doing a tier list of the best films of the 2010s.
The specific year or the 2000 to 2010? Well,
I did the 2020s, the decade. Already. Now I'm going backwards, so it's 2010 to 29 or to 2020, the whole decade.
Okay.
And it's
cool.
it's just like ranking all of them from S to D tier or whatever.
Yeah.
As much as I can, probably 100 of them at least.
Yeah, at least.
So I'm certain the house that Jack built's on that list, right, is S tier, right, Lofty?
S.
Awesome. All right. We start the show where we always start the show with Behind the Screens.
Action, take 2.
Behind the Screens is where we turn to All My Feelings, get the lowdown on everything behind the scenes, production stuff, everything. Take it away, sir.
Okay, to start off with, probably the most surprising note about this film is the fact that it only had a $4 million budget.
Not surprising, by the way.
But it, you know what the gross was?
60
$118.7 million
for an Oscar movie. Damn.
Yeah, it did extremely well for itself.
It was hype.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sofia Coppola based the majority of the film off of her own time in Tokyo while actually promoting the Virgin Suicides.
Okay.
And it was originally drafted in paragraph form. So she would take different experiences that she had, write little notes about them, and then blocked them all together with the help of actually her brother.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
kind of a weird amalgamation of
when she wrote
how to get to a story and a script.
Yeah, when she actually ended up writing the script, she actually ended up having asked for her friend Brian Reitzel, who actually ended up doing the music for the film later, to give her a compilation of, yes, I know it's very odd, but lo-fi beats.
Lo-fi beats.
That's technically that's 2003, so I understand. It's to think of it back then. It's this is innovative.
Yeah,
and now it's like so. It depends on your mood.
Cliche. Yeah, it's become a cliche now. A lot of things were inspired by this, including lo-fi channels and things like that.
Oh,
and
yes.
and lo-fi art, and for sure. Yeah.
So Fumihiro Hayashi, who actually plays Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown. Yeah. Charlie Brown.
Yeah. The reason why he got the role is because Sofia Coppola actually met him doing karaoke rendition of God Save the Queen, which he does in the film.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's funny. That reminds me of when Tarantino was in Japan and he went to see, he heard the band that plays at the Crazy 88 scene. House of the or the Blue Leaves or whatever. I can't remember the name. The go-go, the whistle.
Yep.
He heard them in a cafe or something. Just took the CD, asked the guy for the CD, and then flew them to Hollywood and put them in his movie.
Yep.
It's kind of funny.
That happens. Apparently that happens all the time.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
So Bill Murray was Coppola's first choice for the role of Bob and refused to make the film without him.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is like the first time that Bill Murray was trying to go super dramatic and kind of breaking away from his whole stereotype.
Yeah.
But kind of comes back to bite him because when he's at the hotel watching stuff, they put on one of the pieces from SNL, which made me laugh because it had no SNL context. It was just him in Japanese. And I was like, I see what you did there.
By the way, this film is actually really quite funny if you understand Japanese.
You wrote me a message. I think it was Wednesday or something. It was like, I forgot how funny yesterday. Okay. It's like, this movie is hilarious. And I was like, where's the hilarity? And I forgot. Feelings knows Japanese.
Oh, wow.
So he knows the other side of it. And I went back to it and I tried to find a copy of this movie with Japanese translation. There is none. And if you Google it, it will actually say it was on purpose.
Yeah.
There
Could
is
you say
no-
could you say that the dub or sub was lost in
Just
translation?
lost in translation.
Correct. Wait.
Yes.
You
So-
hate soundboards.
The relationship between John and Charlotte was actually based off of Sofia Coppola's relationship with Spike Jones.
Mm,
Oh, okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Spike
What's
Jonze,
interesting is all in
another
all,
very
this
similar director. Yeah,
yeah.
styles.
But in all, the screenplay actually only had 75 pages.
Yeah.
A lot of
Well,
ads
how-
between Scarlett Johansson and Bill.
The vast
It
majority
shows.
of Murray's stuff was actually just him improvising.
yeah.
So
It shows.
a lot of the interaction, especially with any of the Japanese, any of the
Yes.
Japanese cast, essentially, that's all ad-libbed.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
It really shows. It really shows. You can tell it's Bill Murray, not Bob Harris in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much so. Murray at the time, oddly, how Sofia Coppola wanted him so badly for the role, had a 1-800 number that prospective projects could call to pitch their idea.
Jeez.
Okay.
Coppola kept calling and sending him letters, sending him drafts. It actually finally took the screenwriter Mitch Glazier, who actually knew him personally, read the script and said, "No, Bill, you have to sit down. You have to read this." So Murray actually had a lunch with her and then decided to sign on because he felt bad if he didn't take the role.
That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie.
But also, Murray refused to sign any documents committing to the project, and basically they had to just go on his word that he was going to show up on set.
As if we didn't hear that in any other Bill Murray movie or project that we covered on this show. Ghostbusters was one. Ghostbusters 2 was one. And on when we talked about Groundhog's Day, the episode 5 or 6, Harold Ramis didn't actually know Bill Murray was going to be there until the day.
That was the thing too, is she was so nervous about it until she actually spoke with Wes Anderson, and Wes Anderson said, "If Bill says he's going to be there, he's going to be there."
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good thing too, because of the $4 million budget, she had already planned and spent $1 million of it before Bill Murray showed up on set.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of rough. Yeah. Speaking of just casting decisions and everything, Coppola was actually taken with Johansson's role in, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but Manny and Lowe.
Heard of it.
No.
Yeah.
I've seen The Horse Whisperer and Ghost Town.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she was younger in Ghost Town, but I'm not sure. Am I thinking about the right movie? The one with Thora Birch.
Oh, no, that's Ghost World.
Ghost World.
Ghost World, yeah.
Yeah. She was younger in that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But again, if I told you this backstage, but even though she was 17, they thought that she could play older, and they signed her on without an audition.
And showed her ass too.
That's true.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
Okay.
Isn't that the first shot of Lost in Translation? The second?
It's just
the first shot of Lost in Translation is
her
Scarlett
bare ass.
Johansson's ass.
Yeah, I want that on my wall. That's funny. Yeah,
I feel a little bit awkward now. I told Memphis Lofty, I'm like
17.
wow,
she's not.
she's
14.
She's 19 in the movie. I thought. Oh wait, no.
She's 21
in Lost in
movie.
Translation.
She's past her
her undergrad.
Her undergrad, yeah.
Yeah, but I thought she was 19 when she made that movie, or maybe I'm wrong.
I thought she was 21.
She was 17. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So to maintain Final Cut privilege, Coppola actually went to multiple studios, and this is a really ingenious idea, in order to get international distribution. That's why if you look at the credits, there are so many also distributed by, also distributed by, also distributed by.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
can maintain Final Cut.
Okay, so she went to
Man.
like small distributors in order to make sure she'll have the utmost
Wow.
power to make sure her version of it will be the version.
Would be the version to made, yeah. The photography for the entire film only took 27 days.
27 days.
That's not too bad. I mean,
Not bad.
it keeps the budget low, and plus everything is.
Yeah.
The outside shots are not. There's not many outside shots.
No, it's
There's a
very
lot of hotel shots within that
Yeah.
like vicinity of that location, and when they're going out to clubs, everything is close quarters. So yeah. I get it. I get it.
And they had a very run and gun style with the way that they shot everything because they didn't get permits to do shit.
I was
Right.
gonna ask you. There is.
Nope.
There's a very famous location where they shot, right? Where they have it's a big little square and they have the crisscross the walkways, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's like 4 or 5 streets coming in. I just know the place. I've seen it in 2 other movies. There's lots of little walkways and
Yeah.
there's neon all over the place. That's why it's
Yeah.
very highly shot. And when it comes to like movies and stuff, it's like they didn't get a permit and so they went like Logan Paul style.
Right.
Essentially, except they didn't go to a certain forest like an
Well-
asshole.
Put the
Japanese
forest on the side, okay? I mean, they literally just Shanghaied it.
Documentary
Yeah,
style.
they were just.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah. So oddly enough, this is actually Bill Murray has stated this on multiple occasions that this is actually the favorite of his films that he's ever done.
Really? More than Steve Zissou?
Yeah.
Okay.
So given the fact that they were in Japan and they couldn't bring over too many, crew members to really get to work on it,
Mm-hmm.
they had to hire a lot of local talent there, right?
Okay.
This caused a lot of issues because Sofia Coppola does not speak Japanese.
Okay.
Their cinematographer does not speak Japanese.
Okay. So we get the whole Bill Murray advertising situation going on,
But
in the
reverse.
behind the scenes.
It just in reverse, yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah. So that we'll just go ahead and start with the opening shot. This first and foremost, it's influenced by painting by John Casser. And
Interesting.
Johansson did not want to do the scene and was really, really nervous and apprehensive about it until Sofia Coppola just went, "Fine, I'll do it." So she did a take, and Scarlett Johansson was like, "Okay, I'm being a child."
I mean, can I show it on fucking YouTube? I can't show it, right?
You see butt crack, but that's it.
I mean, it's covered butt crack. The whole. That's the first shot of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we have all seen Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson. We know how she looks like backwards and forwards, right? Well, I'm sure you guys did as well.
Under the Skin, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
Don't go there.
but you guys, is my audio
What?
okay? I'm just checking.
yeah, you're fine.
Now it's fine.
Audio okay right now?
It so. Now you're stuck. If you want to jump back out and in, Lofty, we're good.
I'm stuck. Yeah, I think I'm okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Cool.
Everything else, notes during the film.
All right. Cool. We're gonna run down through the movie and we'll see where we stop. If we want to get a little bit forward, a little bit backwards, I don't mind it. It kind of starts like we said with that shot, and then it did introduce Scarlett, it did introduce Charlotte without introducing Charlotte, and immediately goes to Bob and his whole experience, and it takes about 10 minutes of going from place to place.
And that's what's great is that it's oddly enough, his name is Lance Accord, where it's like you think of the most fake name you can think of. He was the cinematographer of the film, but he got some spectacular shots and overview shots. So
yeah. The first bit of Lost in Translation is actually the Japanese businessmen.
Yes,
and
that is a formal tradition. You were supposed to do that in any kind of business transaction. You always meet with a gift and business cards.
Yes, that's something I actually know. It's not typically unique to Japan, although it kind of is, but it was sort of exported into other countries. Like I know other countries do it just without the gift part. It's like, hello, blah, blah, blah. You're a famous person or you're a CEO of somewhere. Yeah. I'm this guy. So you literally leave the first kind of meeting with like a ton of like a big fucking thing of business cards. And you're supposed to keep those for some reason. Yeah. But if you meet them again, you might get another business card.
Yes, that will always happen.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you've been to
Unless
Japan.
Unless you do regular business with them. But
Lofty's been to Japan as well.
The major thing, too, is what's interesting is the fact that you can attest to this, Lofty. The hotel room, just that they're staying at, that was the thing that cost them one of the most expensive things that was actually in the budget was the hotel room.
I was going to ask because that hotel room is huge when it comes to Japanese hotels, right? Mostly it's very small rooms, like very, very small rooms. Bob Harris has the biggest room I've ever seen in any Japanese hotel depiction ever. A. B. He has got the biggest bed I've seen in a Japanese hotel ever. It's like a massive king-size bed.
I've only stayed at one hotel in Japan, and it was like not small, but it was not that big. And but I stayed with the host family.
Yeah, that's very different.
Their house was pretty small. I think his room was bigger than their house, to be honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised as well.
And we have that juxtaposition at the hotel bar where he starts to get noticed by some of the fans across the bar, where he just looks down. You can tell the fact that he's over his career. Like,
it kind of
does not want to be here. He does not want to do this. And
kind of sets up him. It's like I'm just coming here to do a thing, and I'm just gonna leave. I don't want to talk to nobody. I just want to sit here, drink my drink, have my cigar, and not talk to any. Like the opposite of Nick Rekieta.
And the definite the blow off that he gives them is so fantastic because they're in the middle of going like, "Oh yeah, that's great."
Yeah. Talk to the hand. And the big juxtaposition. I'm not going to say that word again.
Juxtaposition.
Thank you. Is you get more of Charlotte's kind of story without telling you anything. She is with her husband, or you don't know it's her husband yet, but she's with a partner, but she's secluded and alone because she's looking towards the city and she's all alone, and there's like melancholy music in the background. Is like, oh yeah, something is wrong here.
What's fantastic about this film too is that the fact that they show that there are again in two separate stages of their lives, and as I mentioned to Mev backstage, where this is how this shows not only what the midlife crisis is, but what they loosely term as the quarter life crisis, where you're after college but you don't know what you're doing with your life yet, and her also being forced into a different country where she doesn't speak the language, with her husband who is just off on his own, doing whatever he wants to do on a daily basis. But I love the fact that they're showing that as it's physically taking its toll on them by their inability to sleep. Their insomnia is a byproduct of their own mental anguish.
Yeah.
and not necessarily the fact that they can't get used to the
time
transition of where they're actually living in.
Yeah.
This is where I said to you, and you can jump in on this, Lofty. Is she is at a point where a lot of college students today are in, because she didn't learn any skill per se, because she went to philosophy. So we're gonna not to overextend this, but taking, yes, bite me later, gender studies, CRT, history, geography, and I do mean all of that, the subjects that are not necessarily important. I'm not going to go into sociology because there is sociology work in, like, you can go into that, like therapy and that sort of thing. But studying something just to get a degree and then be in debt for 20 plus years ish and have basically no skills, so you really don't know what to do.
And what didn't Bob also mock her for that too? It's like that, I learned that's a really well-paying racket.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And she knows it. She's aware of it. She's self-aware, and she's like, what am I doing? She's almost like she's almost like she's given up almost, because like when she interacts with her husband, she's like, you could tell she just like doesn't care about like her own passions, and she's just kind of like existing in this like almost like dead dream state of like, oh well, and I was going to bring up earlier with Bob's divorce, there's this weird parallel with his ending of marriage and then her beginning of marriage, and then this awkward like, I shouldn't be in this marriage, which they both share, and it's just a very interesting parallel. But
the whole point, I'm not sure Bob is going through a divorce, but he's generally at that point in time where there's that 7-year itch, but there's like every
ending of like that honeymoon phase, or the maybe like the beginnings of a potential divorce, or like what you're describing, this itch.
I think it's the point, I call it not the midway point, but it's like between 15 and 20 years where you're like, the kids are generally at a young age, but not small, they're not toddlers, they're 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, that sort of range also. And he's doing a job where you generally, as a paid actor, you would be not in the house a lot at times, and a lot of times in the house. So you're like bouncing from here to there in terms of whether you're a working actor or just doing whatever. He's like at the very end of his career where to sustain his living, he's taking these odd, very lucrative jobs overseas.
Yes, which, to be fair, a lot of actors have done this.
Yeah.
A lot of actors.
I mean,
but what I find,
George Clooney is not at the end of his career, but he used to take a lot of coffee commercials. I don't know if you've seen him over at the States.
Tommy Lee Jones is still the main figurehead of Boss Coffee. I mean, it's been for like 20 years now.
It's so weird that sometimes these Hollywood actors take, I don't know, like Dior commercials, but in the States, you don't see a Dior commercial. Well, I've never seen this. Yeah. It's like, no, but it's in Europe, and it's in Asia and all that stuff.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, Johnny Depp as well.
McConaughey with the Lincoln. And there's a lot of actors.
But what I find interesting too is how Bob gets the facts at 4:00 in the morning from his wife with like about the samples, and then he gets the box later, the samples. And when he actually does try to have that kind of banter, that reconciliation conversation where he's trying to rebuild the relationship, she shuts him out, and where he goes, and he even says at the end that was a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Hey,
to me, I forgot how the whole like remodeling thing is going. That storyline with the remodeling thing is going. As soon as he opened up the package, and the letter says Burgundy, he opened up the packages. Everything kind of dumps in. I was like, yeah, they're all. He's gonna say they're all Burgundy, so he's just good. Yeah, the Burgundy is fine. It's like,
I think that's a great scene. It's such a mundane, almost irrelevant task for him to do when he's in Tokyo, and it parallels nicely with Scarlett and in her response to her husband's job, which she thinks is mundane and irrelevant and uninteresting, in a different way and more of a pretentious way. But like, she has this feeling of like his whole existence is like this shallow, empty, mundane existence, and like that's kind of it's in a smaller way the Burgundy, like, you know, was it rug or carpeting or wall tiles?
It's carpeting,
whatever. Carpeting for the office or something. Yeah,
it just feels like why. Yeah, it's just like why do I care about any of this?
Yeah,
and
why would I give a shit?
And it adds to that feeling of being lost and like your own like what purpose, sense of purpose, and all that stuff. But yeah,
exactly. And mirroring that, and it comes before that, but it kind of mirrors the whole thing of finding a purpose, something that you want to cling on. Is Charlotte going to the temple? This is the first time she goes to a temple that we see. Later on, she goes to Kyoto and walks around these gardens, these Zen gardens, and she sees this wedding going on. And after this visit, you can see her on the phone talking to presumptively her mom, but I'm not sure. Yeah. And she's saying that she felt nothing.
Because it was after going to this temple, saying how the experience that they were having, she felt nothing, and she's in tears.
Yeah, because it seems like she wanted to like find something to connect to something, to something that moves her. It didn't move her, and she is crying because she wanted to find that thing, whatever it is, and she couldn't.
Yeah. I was gonna just circle back on a more positive note. I know Lofty might have to go sometime soon, but I want to definitely just talk about everything in the ad scene, which I think is is the funniest bit in this entire production. And the fact that Bob keeps going, that's all he said? It seems like he said a lot more than that.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's so funny. I made a funny edit of this where recently where I took this scene and added some really like cool music to it, and it makes him look kind of like a badass.
Yeah.
But in reality, because he just looks like he doesn't give a shit. And it's like it's almost like it's kind of how it's very relatable. Like I've been in situations where I'm just like surrounded by a bunch of nonsense, and I'm just like, what the hell am I doing here? You know what I mean? And then that's kind of how he's feeling here. And his facial expressions are just like deadpan. It's so funny, man. It's a great scene. And they can't tell. The people around him don't even care like what he's feeling, you know. They're just like,
oh no.
We have to do a commercial. And they're just like, they're not aware of his how he feels.
The thing with this,
intensity.
The thing with this, it seems like the director he tries to mold Bob into something, and Bob is like, I will give you whatever you want. I just want you to convey what I need to do. And it seems like he was very passionate. The director was very passionate, and Bob wanted to connect to that thing, but he couldn't because he's lost in translation.
Yeah. But and that's what's so great with this compared to the photo shoot that he has later.
Yeah, where even
Roger Moore. Roger Moore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I want to get.
He's just doing his little improv. I mean, the character is improving in that scene. The character, besides Bill Murray, but the character is just having fun, much more fun.
And what's great is
that
you
photo
can
shoot.
tell, you can really tell when it goes off script because there are people in the background that are laughing hysterically.
And it's not the first time it happened in this movie.
Oh, no, it happens multiple times.
The moment I caught it and then I rewind it back to some scenes is the moment where he takes her to the hospital.
Oh, right? The hospital scene is so fucking great. Oh,
and he's trying to talk to this old woman, and all he does, he's just mimicking what she does. And there are two ladies in the background going like this. And you can tell the ladies in the back do such a horrible job of like trying not to burst out laughing. And I bet you Sofia Coppola is like, no, go, keep going.
It's so good. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Kenzo says he fell asleep watching this movie with his wife. I can see that. I mean, you kind of have to be in a mood to be. Well, you have to be in a moody mood to watch this movie because it's very moody.
Very much so. Yeah.
But yeah.
I think the first time I watched this, I think I stopped midway point after they both do the sort of, she takes them to a club, to her friends, her like Japanese friends, and then they go off and do the karaoke thing, and then they run off and do the stuff. That's when I first saw this movie, that's where I kind of stopped. Because I was looking towards, other than character development, which you did get, there's nothing going on.
No, there's not.
There's not really nothing going on. No. It's mostly down to a lot of experiences that tells you a lot about the characters themselves.
Yeah.
Rather than this grand story that happens throughout a week and a half that now gets to a conclusion.
Yeah.
Well, now can you see how when Sofia Coppola wrote it in paragraph form to begin with about different experiences and then kind of just mash them all together? And the fact that the screenplay was only 75 pages, so they had to improv so much. Why it kind of feels, in some ways, in certain situations, it feels kind of disjointed. Where in some days you're like, sometimes when you're watching, you're like, what day is this of his trip?
Yes, that's the thing, because there's a phone call that he does with his agent. I think it's during the photograph, the photo shoot scene, where it's like. Because
they asked him to go to that
Johnny Carson thing, and he's not Johnny Carson whatsoever.
Yeah.
And he's like, he is the biggest thing in Japan. It's like, you have to do this. Not have to, but you kind of want to do this.
To the show where it's an honor to be a guest on his show. It would be like going to the UK and not doing the Graham Norton show.
Right, Graham Norton.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Jimmy Kimmel or something, or Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the whole point is like at that point he doesn't have an anchor to stay. He just wants to get it over with and leave. And throughout his sort of not pseudo, but a relationship with Scarlett, it's like, now there's a reason to stay. So he's willing to do something that he really doesn't want to do. Even when he does the show, you can tell he is dead. He is dead inside.
Come on, Mr. Bob, do the dance.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch. I touch on the content being lacking in this movie. It's you almost have to be a sort of certain kind of person to enjoy movies like this. I mean, you kind of, the more like melancholic, introspective you are, the more like these kinds of movies you might appreciate. There's a lot of films like this. I know Coppola was most likely influenced by like Wong Kar-wai from Hong Kong filmmaker, Chungking Express. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of French New Wave films that are like this, where it's more like it's almost like watching your own past experiences and emotions and feelings like replay itself out in a movie that like I've been in this emotional state before, and I vibe with it, But in order to do that, you kind of have to be a little bit of introspective and melancholy, and kind of maybe a little have dealt with depression before, or like loneliness, or otherwise you're not going to really connect with these people. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, because like I said, when I was younger, I just didn't get why am I watching this movie. However, now I'm much older, got a family, got some kids. I can understand Bob's perspective.
Yeah.
Not because I'm an actor or whatever. It's the situation where I'm at a job, I'm away from my family. I kind of want to be with them, but I kind of don't want to be with them. And then I get to connect to a friend, not romantically, but a friend. And I was like, oh, there's something outside of my sort of zone, especially when I'm past my 40s, and I feel what he feels without being him. I can understand Bob more. I can understand Scarlett, but it's very far away from me.
Yeah.
The experience, the age, everything about her situation is pretty far away from me. Bob, however, is very, very close to me. I can feel his turmoil, right? So I can appreciate this movie a lot more now than I did back when I was like, 26 when this came out? 25?
Yeah. And also she's friends with Spike Jonze, and Spike Jonze is he makes similar movies. Like if you've ever seen the movie Her of Joaquin Phoenix, there's a lot of very, very like
isn't Scarlett Johansson the voice of Her?
She is the voice of the girl in the AI companion. Yeah. And she thanked, by the way, I was right, I just looked it up. She thanked Wong Kar-wai in her Oscar acceptance speech. If you haven't seen In the Mood for Love, it's the other poster I have on my wall, besides Lost in Translation. Very similar movie about two people that are in this weird state of like platonic sort of love, and they have two separate. They're both married, and they have it's very similar. Fantastic movie, 2001. I think 2 years before this came out. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
cool. Let's leave the melancholia behind. Let's do our first game of the night.
Yeah.
It is called Missing Marquee. Missing Marquee is where we take 10 posters of movies, have their text written off, we display them in Lofty, and you guys in the chat will have to answer which movie this is, and we will do this and that. Go.
Akira. Eve, Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness. Correct.
Wait, are we competing?
Nope. You're competing with yourself.
Oh, okay.
And perhaps Tom Connors.
Yep. Tom Connors, that's right.
I'm joking.
Babe, obviously.
Babe is correct.
Chat.
No, chat wouldn't be fast enough. There's a 20
delay.
plus second.
I see. Doubtfire, right? And this is Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire, correct.
Rampage.
Fucking shitty ass movie.
Why are you giving him all the easy ones, man?
I've done this months ago by this point. What is it?
This must be The Passion of the Christ. I'm kidding.
Wait, I've got a button for it, and it's not on my soundboard. Wait.
There it is. No, Saving Private Ryan, obviously.
Saving Private Ryan.
And that one is Enemy at the Gates.
No.
Oh shit! I lost. Wait,
no.
Is that Brad Pitt? No.
That's Brad Pitt, and that's Robert Redford.
Robert Redford. Fuck. Damn it! It's not. I don't even remember. This what the title of this is called. Wait,
it's CIA based.
It's not Red.
Chat is up to you, chat.
He was in that. No, I don't remember.
Feelings? Just tell me if you know this or not.
Oh, he does.
There's a very famous scene on the top of a roof in supposedly Beirut, but it wasn't shot in Beirut,
It
as
was
far
not
as I
shot
know.
in Beirut. That's a goddamn sure.
Yeah, I've never seen this, but I've seen this. I used to work at Blockbuster, and I've seen the DVD cover a million times. My memory's
Chat
blank.
is blank. Everybody's blank. This is Spy Games.
Spy Games. Damn it. That's The Aviator.
The
But a man used to
Aviator.
piss in jars.
Brothers Grimm.
The Brothers Grimm.
Untouchables.
No?
Unforgiven.
It's
Sorry.
Unforgiven. Correct, sir. Beautiful.
There it is.
Hey, as soon as I've seen the first poster, I knew it would be a fucking ease. Because
Yeah.
as soon as I saw Akira, I was like, oh no. It's bad. You should have been here last week because we had like 2 weeks ago we had like Godzilla stuff.
Oh, nice.
Because didn't you have like it was Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla and
Yes, and
was it
Godzilla versus
King
Mothra.
Rodeo? Oh, Mothra.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Godzilla, what was that? I don't remember.
Now
Whatever.
you'll have to remind me, Lofty. When did they bring in the horrible abomination, which was Baby Godzilla?
Bro, I've only seen the original, the first one, and then I've seen like the 98 and then the new ones.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The
Yeah,
98 does not count.
No, I'm not a big I always thought they were kind of goofy. I also don't like
Oh, yeah.
Ultraman. I mean, I
What
grew up
about
with Power
Spectre
Rangers.
Man, the offshoot of Ultraman?
Yeah.
There was a Japanese show called Spectre
Yeah.
Man. Who, when I was in a band, we had a little bitty about it, and we would just say Spectre Man, and a monkey that looks like Mr. T, because there was a monkey. There was a guy in a gorilla suit who looked like Mr. T.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was obvious.
Okay.
It was with the big gold chains, and his hair was styled
Yeah,
exactly
I've
like B.A.
seen it.
Baracus. Like
They do it.
was,
That's what they do.
it was awful. It was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
that
you know
ain't
what
gonna
you're
fly
doing here,
today.
man.
Yeah, that ain't good.
Yeah, it won't fly.
I pity that gorilla.
Yes.
Yeah.
I pitied that gorilla. Cool. I'm going back to Bob. He sits in his lavish apartment house, or what? It's a hotel room. It's the weirdest thing in the world where they send him a hooker, and she's a masseuse, and
Rip my stocking, Bubba.
and this is the point where this is the point where
Lip.
just before she comes, he flips the channels and he
Oh no, help me, It's like,
Stop doing it. It's such a dude. I love it. I love it. And I feel
it's
yeah.
it's so awkward
It is awkward.
because you know what she's there for. As soon as she pulls up her mini skirt, it's like, it's that kind of a massage.
Yeah.
She's gonna massage his shit.
Yeah.
well, and she was sent there by the director, so apparently maybe the director is just really into this weird kind of like pseudo sexual assault thing, I guess.
I mean,
Where it's like role playing.
Yeah, kind of.
So like, oh, Bob will be into it. Just do it. Just do what you normally do with me.
And you know what? This time around, watching it, you know what caught my eye when he flips the channels, either before he gets to the SNL bit or after. There's a moment there from I think it's Seven Samurais.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's
It is, right? It's from Seven Samurais. And like, oh, Sofia knows what she did there. Or it's her cinematographer. Whoever decided on what movie it was to put on, it was like, if you're making a movie in Tokyo because you want to appreciate the Japanese culture, you have to have one of Akira Kurosawa's movies if you're having a moment where you're flipping a channel. Because you just have to, kind of.
yeah.
You don't have to do anything, but it kind of fits with the whole narrative that is going on. I was like, okay, she knows what she was doing.
Yeah. And then it's right after that we go into that photo shoot. I just wanted to talk about just a little bit about that photo shoot again, because there
Yeah,
are
go
just
ahead.
some great lines in that where he goes like, I'd be drinking whiskey, but this is clearly iced tea. And he's like, what am I drinking? I will be right after this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I am
And
not.
he goes like, so I'm supposed to be looking with Mister. Yeah, I'll be wondering where the whiskey is.
By the way, I am not drinking Sanctory. By the way, that's McCullen, because I'm not drinking no Jack.
I love how he's like he was like, the good news is the whiskey works.
Yes,
The good news is the whiskey works, because he says that to Scarlett at the bar.
There.
Yeah. That's their first interaction too, and I think this was the second time when she actually brings up a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Yes,
she has no problem making fun of him to his face, and he has no problem being like the butt of a joke or something. Like it's a great relationship.
Oh, and what's great too is they have the it was Charlotte who sends the drink to Bob first, because she's having that dinner, and
with her husband and friends, and you can tell she really doesn't want to be there, because she keeps looking. She looks at the singer, who, by the way, great singer. I know you disapprove, but
that's fine. She's just like a jazz
great lounge singer. Great.
Anyway, we have right after that too is what's so funny is the elliptical scene.
Oh yeah. The I'm trying to be healthy while away on work vacation. I was like,
such a funny scene, because it goes backwards and he can't read the Japanese on the elliptical.
Yeah.
He's like, help. There's nobody there.
He finally jumps off of it. It's just like, fuck this.
Yeah. Great physical comedy. Great.
Yeah. And it kind of later on he does that pool thing. He swims, but when he swims, you can tell he doesn't like the music. So every time he goes down, there's no music, and then he goes up for a breath of air. He hears the music. All the while, he's looking at some rather large-looking Japanese people jumping about stupidly in the.
Like they're just doing water aerobics. That's
yes, but you better off just swimming, to be absolutely fair. But that's all I was thinking. It's like, why are these people jumping about in the pool rather than just swim with some loud, obnoxious music?
And then we do have
old,
just
by the way.
that one odd bit too, where they actually have one of the very few scenes where you have John and Charlotte together when they run into Kelly, the actress played by Anna Faris. And there's clearly a connection between Kelly and John. Like they clearly have chemistry, and it's so clearly palpable where it's off-putting, where you immediately go, oh no, this is gonna go somewhere really bad.
Yeah, and I was like, they're just hinting it, or Sofia was like hinting it that it's there. Maybe she kind of she wants to tell us, well, they probably have an affair, but you don't see anything, you don't show anything, and they're not talking about it. So it's like, am I overthinking it? Am I imagining things?
And
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, and it gets awkwardly, like, weirdly intimate when she's like, "Oh, I have the worst BO right now," and he's like, "Oh," he holds his nose.
Yeah,
although that might have been the scene before this, but yeah,
that was before that. That was when they meet.
I'm jumping about in the movie. It's really hard to pinpoint a moment, because, like you said, it's a lot of bundled up scenes to get the specific moment. It's kind of hard.
Yeah. But it's just this too at the dinner too. Where
it's just this weird, awkward intimacy, and a normal person who isn't like an autistic dumbass is gonna be like, now's not the time to be flirty with this person, you know? It's just, and he doesn't understand it, and then you sympathize with her even more as like, why she shouldn't even be here. and then she made a mistake, or she made a mistake marrying the guy.
Oh yeah, I think that's really what the crux of the issue is, the fact that she rushed into this as she kind of rushed into her philosophy degree because she really couldn't decide on what she wanted to do with her life.
Yeah.
And now she's in that same position now where it's like, now I really have no idea what I want to do with my life. And I'm in a marriage where I'm not happy.
Yep.
Exactly.
But with that dinner scene that you showed, Meph, the line that Kelly says, which it makes me furious because it's so dumb.
I know which line. It's the cleansing, the body cleansing. No? Really?
My dad wasn't anorexic.
Yes, that's it. That's the one. That's the one.
He's a POW, and like they thought that they were poisoning his food, so they forced themselves to throw up. I'm like, that's bulimia, you fucking moron.
That's what you got from it? That it's not anorexia, it's bulimia? No.
Well, then also, like, why the fuck is she sharing that? Because she keeps saying it to it as a backhanded compliment to herself. Well, people always say I'm anorexic, but I'm not. I eat so much. It's like, or you've met women that are like this.
I've met women here that are like this, and I thought it was just a Hollywood actress type deal. No, there are women who are just like that in their real life, and I was like, do these people exist? They fucking exist.
Yes.
So she could be an actress, she can be just a businesswoman, she can be whatever. At this case, she's an actress because it's like he's a photographer, so it kind of fits. And also, it plays off Bob's being an actor in Hollywood. She's a Hollywood actress. And it
would make sense why she would be there because, she's promoting a film overseas, doing press tours. Like, it would make sense why out of nowhere, why would this character show up? So, yeah. What's interesting as well is during that conversation, it's Charlotte looks over at the bar and sees Bob, and Bob is just
exactly looking like that. And then they connect through, like, she went to the pool, he went to the pool, and then they connect. And her husband just left for a few days for a photo shoot. So why not just have a night on the town? He shows up with the fucking stupid. This to me is Steve Buscemi moment where, hello, fellow kids.
Hello, fellow youths.
Yes. With the shirt, and she makes him like reverse it. And
he does it on his own accord because he's so embarrassed. He goes and he turns it around. And he's like, "Can you cut the tag off?"
Yeah, and the way that she looks at him was like half pity, half, "Oh, you old people don't know how to dress."
Yeah,
and
That's great.
But there's also a very subtle sexual tension there.
There's already
when he's in her he's in her bathroom taking off her shirt. She's not looking, but she is looking, and she knows she's looking, but there's no, the physical interaction is not not overt, I would say. So it's very on the like a surface level tension.
Yeah,
and then they go on a night on the town where I thought, if I were Bob, I would just, at a certain point, I would just find her and said, I'm like out. I'm out. I don't understand what the fuck is going on here.
I do love about how Bob ends up in these conversations with people, with obviously Japanese people, but who really don't speak English that well. And they're just telling him stories. And he's like,
He's just,
Exactly. But this is the moment, like, if I would have stayed, I would have probably had this kind of moment, because this happens to me in real life a lot for some reason, where I'm stuck at a place, at a bus or on a train or somewhere where I'm waiting for something and I really don't want to be there, and suddenly someone actually starts to talk to me for some reason. I'm like, I have nothing else to do, and I don't want to be on my phone all the time because I don't want to. I just have a conversation with somebody on nothing.
Yeah.
And it seems that way with Bob. Is like, he does not understand, but he's bored, so he just goes along with it.
Yeah, he's bored.
Lefty, you were saying?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, he's just kind of going with the flow. He's realizing that nothing else was really important and nothing else really matters in this kind of weird time that he's stuck in this weird country with weird people, and he's just kind of like over being depressed about it, and he's just embracing it for like kind of the absurdity that it is. And I think that's kind of why she likes him in a way. He's able to do that, and then he doesn't take himself seriously, and I just think that's a great character writing moment for this scene, this whole part, the karaoke and all that.
The weird part is, she actually sang. I don't think they did overdub because there was a lot of noise going on in the background. Scarlett Johansson can sing. Her part in Sing the movie, she did that. She sang that song. Which was weird because I thought it was a dub by Taylor Swift, and my wife was like, "No, she sang the song. I'll show you the clip from YouTube." It's like, "Oh shit." I think what she finds in him is the fact that not only does he not take everything seriously, even though seems like he's not doesn't belong, he's still there placating her because he doesn't enjoy the rest of them. He enjoys her company rather than just the situation itself. Mm-hmm. And of course, for some reason, they get shot at some point.
Well, that's actually something that they actually do in Japan.
Really?
They're just like they're basically airsoft rifles. They're not.
Yeah, I know they're not real.
Yeah.
But
they're not even like the equivalent of a BB gun. I mean,
I get it. The whole point is that they're chasing them down the street, and then they stop, and then they just continue chasing them, and it feels like it's a cultural game or something. Yeah. It felt like it was manufactured. The whole, we're running away from them. Yeah. and they use that to just continue on with the night and going to the karaoke.
Yeah. I've never been to karaoke in Japan. Have you? All my feelings? Have you done karaoke in Japan? I didn't get to do it. I was too young to drink. I was 16. And I had sushi, I had ramen, I went to restaurants, I did the tourist stuff, but I never really got to have this lost in translation experience on my own, just kind of being a foreigner in a weird country. Although I tried to. One of the days I went by myself on a train to Akihabara, and I just kind of like wandered around, which was a really cool part of Tokyo, with a lot of arcade machines and things.
Yeah, the arcade machine. Yeah, you basically had the scene where Scarlett Johansson goes into and just watches people on the arcade machine. And I was going to ask you all my feelings because you probably know this. When was Guitar Hero out for the first time? Because I think it's after 2003.
Yes,
but
it was actually based. It was based off of the
Japanese arcades.
Yeah, it was. It was completely
2005.
Based. Yeah.
And if you notice, there is a version of Dance Dance Revolution, but with they had the tapping thing, and the drum thing is one of those. But there's also a Guitar Hero version with just the buttons rather than just a guitar.
Yep.
And I was like, Oh,
What I find so great about I think this has to do with both Coppola and Accord agreeing on this. With all of Charlotte's excursions out, they're showing different facets of Japan to
Yeah.
really kind of I would say really fill time, but it really shows how it really just shows the contrast of what you're used to compared to Japanese culture and what's going on around Charlotte. How she is really a stranger in a strange land for her.
Yeah, I got that.
Fish out of water.
Lofty, do you need to head out?
I do. I gotta head out at the moment. But
That's all right, buddy.
All right, man.
you
That's
guys,
cool.
That's
cool.
It's
Great.
fun
It's
conversation.
really great to have you on again.
Yep.
Yeah.
And let me know if there's a movie that you're really interested in. And we'll might slate you back in with a proper time with another movie. Please, guys, please go and check out Lofty on his YouTube channel. He does various stuffs, and I liked your recent streams where you dived into some serious shit. I'm pretty sure you probably got fucking limited on your demonetized on those.
Probably. Yeah.
Pretty sure. And follow Lofty on Twitter as well, so you can see what he's doing. And you got a new editing job, right?
I'm working actually with a movie channel, a theory critic channel called the Kino Corner.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So everybody should be following the Kino Corner. He's probably the best movie, like cinephile, creative writer on YouTube. So
I'll try and get in touch with him and see if he'll maybe do
I don't know.
this show.
Conversation.
I don't know if he does any stuff like this. All I know is that he does video essays on YouTube, and then he's also making an actual movie at them, or he's writing one.
Cool.
Sorry, he's writing
Cool.
one.
I'll send him I'll shoot him a message.
But yeah, sure.
And see.
And then
All right.
yeah, that's fun. So I'm doing his editing, so that's my other job.
Nice. Very nice. Cool, man. Great to have
Thank
you on.
guys.
And
Yep.
be good. Enjoy Father's Day.
I
And,
will. And this is I just wanted to say, like, this is one of my favorite movies, so I was happy to talk about it. And and quickly, Get Out, $4.5 million production budget, $255 million gross. So movies like this and Get Out and it's very possible. You don't have to Hollywood doesn't have to spend a lot of money to make a profitable movie. So
Yeah.
we need to.
I have a rant on that at the end, but
Yeah, we've reviewed a lot of films that have been under $10 million that have grossed $100 million plus. It's like if you have a good film, it's going to make money.
I did kind of prepare a rant for when we get to the end, but
We'll get there to that later.
We'll get there.
it's something that I thought about this all week.
Yeah,
But
I'll check that out. Well, thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thank you,
Everybody.
Lofty.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. See ya. And speaking of that lovely poster that he has at the background, it's right there. When they kind of was like, yeah, the night is like done for us. Let's just move on without saying it. They're just there at the hallway. And
what's so great is the fact that she is so comfortable with Bob from the beginning. Where she ends up essentially falling asleep for the first time in how long? Just naturally, and how Bob carries her to the hotel bed and puts her to sleep. Then,
and again with it's not overt sexual tension, but he's like, okay, where's this going? And as soon as he puts her in bed and tucks her in, it's like there is a sexual tension there because they're old enough in terms of in the movie, but he treated her like an older daughter rather than just a sort of I'm not going to say a lover, but a loving partner. I don't know how to say it.
Which is odd about how you mentioned lover. We're gonna roll back on that one at the very end of the film.
No problem.
But so then we have
the most Bill Murray of Bill Murray scenes ever. because he goes up to his room and then he has that conversation with his wife.
His wife. Oh, which oddly enough, do you know who voiced his wife?
No, I didn't check.
It was the costume designer for the film.
Was she credited as his wife too?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. It's fucking funny. Well, that's how you do a fucking a $4 million movie.
Yeah,
you
when you're on one and gun, you're like,
one
hey,
of your
can
crew.
you just do this voice? And by the way, like it's some of it's barely inaudible.
Yes, I know.
So it's like, it's fine.
And then, like I said, in the morning after, you get the most Bill Murray of Bill Murray's scene in a movie ever. And by the way, the cinematography in this is glorious because he drives in a golf course and the Mount Fuji is in the background.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the most Bob Ross picture ever.
I was still waiting for a gopher to pop up out of the ground, man.
Yeah. Or a Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
6-1,
really.
it's really. And to be fair, that was a glorious drive.
Oh,
he hit that ball straight down the middle.
Yeah. And after that, we had
that's just me admiring Bill Murray's golfing prowess.
Swing, yeah. So we had then we have the lunch with Charlotte and Bob, where
I laughed so hard.
I had and I felt this tightness, and it was replaced with unbelievable pain.
Yeah, because he actually had a shiatsu massage, apparently from that hooker or whatever, but you don't see it.
Yeah.
If maybe they shot it and then cut it out.
I had nothing with that. So
yeah,
it's probably just a scene that was. It was just
maybe shot and cut out
conversation, but I don't know.
I thought there's two options. Both of them meaning if they shot something and they cut it out because it didn't fit with the runtime or whatever, and Sofia must have thought, well, you kind of cover it in terms of, I had this shiatsu thing, so it's either the continuation of the hooker scene. Or they shot a completely different scene where it's like he's coming out of the pool, or there's a scene where he's in the sauna with these two German guys. Maybe after that, it's like you don't really need to see
that scene was
massage.
Just odd. Like,
yeah, I didn't understand why it was there in the first place.
They're trying to add filler in there when they could, but if they were to cut out that massage scene, then why would they add the sauna scene? Because the sauna scene added nothing in any way, shape, or form. So,
yeah, I know.
Anyway, but we had this conversation, and he was like, your toe's dead. And he's joking with the Japanese guy who does not speak any English.
He does not.
Because do you want to cut it off? You can serve black toe.
Yeah. I was like, do you have a knife? Is it sharp enough? It's like, of course it is. It's one of the sharpest knives ever to cut a fucking sushi. It has to be. The place though looks legit, a place that they either hired or just sat down and started filming in. Because I thought this place is like, it looks like a working.
Oh, then when they go to,
it's like a fancy, not a fancy sushi place, like a working man sushi place.
Yeah.
To me.
In so many ways, when I was watching this earlier, I mentioned I was talking to somebody else about it. Like, that sushi scene, it reminds me so much of Kill Bill. I was like, I could see that the scene with Sonny Chiba as Hattori Hanzo.
Yeah. I can see that.
As a sushi chef, where it looks like it's just like, again, your working man's kind of sushi restaurant. Like, it's not like an upscale restaurant in any way, shape, or form. Yeah,
but it was legit. Like if it was a setting where it was like maybe they took over a place and they put it like an actor instead of, because he doesn't actually cut sushi. That's where it was like, is it a real guy that they coerced in doing the scene, or is it like a stand-in guy? that they hired because
I could see it to be like so the guy actually like so the actual chef went on break and one of the guys in the back are just like, hey, can you come up here and do this just real quick?
yeah, I was like, he does not touch any food whatsoever, but everything on the table itself is legit. The wasabi grater, the knife is the knife that's supposed to be there. It's like everything is legit, but the guy is not working, and they're still eating sushi.
Yeah,
it's like okay. But their whole interaction with the guy is fucking funny. And then, like, he takes her to the hospital where they don't understand anything.
He's like, "Oh, fill out the form and everything." Like, good, because we're not going to another hospital.
And like I mentioned before, the women at the back that they could not stop giggling.
It's so good. It is so good.
Did you notice Bill Murray's shoes?
Yeah,
they're loud. They're very loud.
Jesus Christ.
I'm mentioning the shoes because because there's a moment there where she looks at his shoes and it's those hotel flip-flops. And when she looks back at him, he's like, yeah, kind of. He gives her the nod.
What's so funny too is I'm gonna hold that note until we get to that scene because there's a funny little behind the scenes bit.
Okay.
About that, but so we have that, and especially when she comes out, he's holding that stuffed toy, right?
Yes.
Looks like a toy. But when she comes, it's like, oh, is that for me? He goes, I guess it's for you.
Yeah. There are subtle joking moments in this that I did not catch when I first saw this. Maybe
like I said, this movie's really funny because they're blink and you miss it jokes that are so easily lost in subtext. You're like, oh, damn you, damn you, Murray, you're still good.
It's not a roll out laughing. Moment, it's like a big ha moment. It's like little subtle, sarcastic role reversal kind of things. There's like, that's. I genuinely laughed hard when I saw the women laughing at the back. That's why it stuck with me in my head.
It's so funny.
It's like, are they ruining the shot? Or that's what made me laugh. The not what's happening with the action where it's this side of the frame. It's the other side of the frame that got me laughing so hard. Where I was constantly thinking
both sides of them are actually funny.
Yeah, but I was constantly thinking, are they wrecking the shot? Are they there for...
In a way, they're not ruining the shot. They're adding more to it because that's how someone would naturally react.
Yes. It seems like it was genuine reaction. That's why I was like, are they ruining the shot? Or were they told to, like, you can just act naturally? Or that's what made me laugh. And yeah, the fact that he's trying to emulate what she's saying rather than understand what she's saying. Yeah. That's the whole point of this. Where she's sitting there in front of the doctor and the doctor is like talking to her and she's like, yes,
And then we have Charlotte when she gets back, she has those. This is what I found really interesting, and it was really just a very good insight into the relationship between John and Charlotte, because when she's back at the hotel room by herself, the photos there where they're all just about him.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where she gets lost in the picture. And that's what I thought. It's like, oh, she's not front and center in this relationship. She doesn't have to be front and center, but she has to share the moment.
Part. Yeah, like where she's looking at the camera too. No, it's just all about him.
Yeah.
Front and center all the time. Yeah.
And to me, if you didn't think at this point that their marriage is literally doomed, it was just when. The question is when.
Yeah,
this is where you're like, yeah, it's done.
Got it.
It's just when. It just went. It really is down to when she decides when it's over, not him, because he seems like he's content of having.
He seems utterly ambivalent.
I was just gonna say him having a purse puppy as a wife.
Yeah, that's fair.
Kind of. Where she's the empty vase. If you get the Friends reference from this, good.
I know, I get it. I got you, buddy. But then what's great after this is like
they decide to meet
go
up
to
at
Club Orange, and
yes,
she doesn't know what it is. He
doesn't know what it is.
He's sitting there and just watching a stripper, just like.
That's the only
I
picture.
love when she walks in. She goes like, "So where's Charlie and all of them?" He looks around and goes, "I think they're taking a dance class."
And I laughed so hard from this. And they see him having a lap dance, like, "Oh, you got me, fucker! You got me." And she's like, "You want to like?"
And then
let's
she
blow
goes,
this joint.
like, let's get out of here. It's like,
yeah,
that's a good idea. Yeah.
And I think when they get back, they hear Anna Faris sing, right?
Because they sneak by the lounge where she's doing karaoke.
They try to avoid her. Yeah. And do you know what song she's singing?
Oh, I can't remember now.
I'm not sure if they did it on purpose or not. It's
I know it fits her character to a T because she's so self-absorbed.
It's Nobody Does It Better.
Better, yeah.
Do you know why it's so significant? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but to me it was significant. It's from James Bond.
Oh.
It's from The Spy Who Loved Me by Roger Moore.
Okay. That's fair.
And I was like, did they do this on purpose? I'm not sure.
Oh,
because if they did it on purpose, it's very clever.
It's on the nose.
It's very clever.
I was going to say real quick, there is a scene before this. You don't have to go back, but it's before the first time that Charlotte and Bob meet at the bar. And notice the fact that they never actually introduced themselves to each other.
No, they didn't. No, I didn't notice that. But I actually kind of, it sprang to mind. It was close to the end of the movie where she said her name.
Yeah.
For the first time. Because she knew his name. When she said her name for the first time, I was like, did they actually like said, "Hi, I'm Charlotte. Hi, I'm Bob"? No.
No, they never did.
There's no introduction. I was like, oh, that's very interesting.
But the only thing that was funnier than that was just how, again, this is Murray just obviously ad-libbing on his own, where he's having that entire breakdown of his relationship, Bob's relationship with his wife, to the Japanese waiter who does not speak a word of English. And the waiter just starts walking away and he just keeps talking.
Yeah. That's where she comes in and orders that drink. And it was like, that's fucking priceless.
That's what I just love that line. So I love that little bit so much. It's fantastic.
Sort of, I was going to say, it seems to me like it's sort of like a Japanese courtesy thing, but he has to be courteous to the other person people, coming in. So I'm gonna listen to your conversation, but I'm gonna be with this new person. I'm gonna sit them down because I need to be polite and stuff. But yeah, it's a weird little interaction.
There, yeah. So right now we have basically where the night's over, and then Bob actually sends her a little message saying, "Are you still awake?"
Yeah.
They drink sake together.
This is very apropos because they're still both having the insomnia, even though she had that one night of sleep.
Which that's why this is so important, is this scene. This is why this scene's so pivotal.
Yeah, because you see, like, there's the night where he tucked her in. The night after, he was still sitting at the window, not able to sleep because she had very minimal interaction with Bob that day because he went out golfing. He did other things. They met up at the evening and at the evening after, and then they have the stripper club. Then they come home. He still can't go to bed. he comes to her and they have that talk. They're watching this stupid. I don't even know what they were watching, but
It's an Italian film, but I can't remember what
yeah.
it is.
Oh, it's a very famous one. It's Marcello Mastroianni. It's 8, I think. Dinner for 8.
Dinner for 8.
One of those. It's
can't
the
remember
one
what
where
it
she
is.
jumps into
In
the
the pool.
fountain and she calls him to rescue her. It's I don't remember it. It's I think her name is Gina Lollobrigida, but I'm not sure. Guys out there in the chat and the comments, please tell me the name of that movie. It's a very famous movie by Federico Fellini.
Yeah,
So which to me is like, oh, you
Which
put
is like
Akira Kurosawa and Fellini in your movie.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what you're doing and you love movies.
Yeah. So we have
And then falling asleep.
But during prior to that, their conversation while they're laying in bed together, but they're clearly separated. So there's no.
Yeah, there's a sexual tension there, but there's this very minute.
There's a clear divide. There's a clear divide between the two, and they're having a conversation of when they first met each other, and they both just fall asleep actually speaking to each other.
Yes. But at the very last, there's minimal touching. She does touch him with the toes, but it's not like it's like her pushing him away. But then, right before the scene ends,
he puts his hand on her foot,
the leg, on the feet. Yeah. It's like, okay. There's a clear divide. There's no sex here.
Side note, if anyone has a foot fetish for Scarlett Johansson, this is the film for you.
You do get to see her feet a lot.
A lot. Yes. It's like, did Tarantino film that?
And then, of course, she has that day where she goes out to Kyoto in the bullet train. Yes, I recognize the bullet train from that movie.
But she sees the traditional Japanese wedding. She goes to and writes and ties up an omikuji, which is one of the traditional Japanese
Yes, I was going to ask you something. I've seen it in other movies, but I don't know what's the significant about it. Is it like the Wailing Wall wishing thing?
Yeah,
where you put in a wish, or is it a prayer?
It's kind of both.
Oh, it's a haiku.
Well, no. You write down like what you wish for in the future, or like your prayers for someone else, or it's supposed to be a thing of goodwill, but it's really for a lot of Shinto shrines. It's kind of like tourist money in a way, where you're just it's like going to Paris and buy like, hey, by the way, we're selling locks and keys.
By the way, they got rid of all of them. We were looking for them. They got rid of all of them.
Fuck you. That's fantastic.
Dude. Me and the missus were like, do you remember we talked about this, like having a lock and key thing? It's probably a tourist thing, but it's going to be very interesting to see it. We went through, I told you this. There was a day where we walked a lot and we did all the tourist sightseeing in like one go.
Yeah.
Many, many, many bridges later, zero locks and keys. Zero. Well, that's all I'm saying, man.
I would find it interesting if they did completely remove them and be like, yes, kill that stereotype because it's awful.
Where are we in the story?
But then okay. Another bit where they have Bob's odd time being in Japan, even though he's obviously clearly over 6 feet tall. The first bit, it was with the shower, and now with this one when he's trying to shave with the tiny razor.
That's exactly where I was. He was looking at. I
love that shot. He's just like,
what the shower thing is like, yeah, I'm gonna get under this. He could have raised it more, but it was more funny to keep it because there was more to go.
You could clearly raise that higher, yeah.
Yeah, but it's funnier.
Yeah.
And with this, like, what am I gonna do with this thing? All right, I'll just give it a go. And then he goes out and has that interaction with I don't know what it was. Was it like it looked to me like a campaign That the bus with the women in the I'll show it to you.
Yeah, no, I know. It's a tour bus.
It's a tour bus?
Yeah.
This? It's looks like a political kind of candidacy thing. Like I can hold.
No, you're right. You're right. It is something for. Hold on. Can you zoom in on that?
Yeah. There's a lot of movement in the shot, so because the thing I thought about is the fact that he has that sash, right? And there's pictures of him with his it's like a portfolio picture of someone who's going to run for office.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's a weird kind of like parade sort of.
It's really hard. It's moving so fast, so the VLC can't. I can't.
I'll need to go back and look that over because I just completely blew past that. I didn't even read it.
It seemed like it was again one of those scenes where it's a filler to something, or he's running into something that is very foreign to him. Where if you would go and see a campaign for like a senator,
I think that's supposed to be what it really is. The fact that it's something that is completely just alien. Whereas it's like again going to the juxtaposition between that and Charlotte going to the shrines and
exactly
both the Buddhist,
that's exactly
the Buddhist
what I'm
temple
saying,
and the Shinto shrines, and going to like the arcades and everything else.
And
Paul, I believe you're correct.
Why aren't they worried all the locks were affecting the structural stabilities? Yes, that's exactly
they were starting to weigh it
That's
down
exactly it.
Yeah.
And they just pulled it out. They literally pulled. I have not. I've been to at least 7 different bridges on purpose, mind you, on foot, and there were none. No locks and keys in Paris.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he runs off and does that show where it's.
You want to get it's a clear setup where he calls his agent too, where he has he got a fax from.
I've passed that moment where he talks like on the flip phone.
No, that's him going, yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. I'll stay an extra couple of days. That's him acquiescing, going, well, no, he actually is really into what this budding relationship might be.
Yes, and that's. I'm not sure if it's after they fall asleep together or not. I think
this is after.
It's
after, yeah.
And I felt the cringe because you can see on Bill Murray's face. Bill Murray doesn't want to be there.
Side note, at that time, a lot of Japanese television was like this.
Oh, I'm well aware of this. It's what's the fascination with it?
Do you know what it is? It's a complete and total departure of how you have to carry yourself in your daily life.
Is that it?
Yeah.
As in, we are so far apart from. It's like
because we can relax and let our hair down and have fun now. We don't have to be prim and proper. We don't have to use our proper dialects. We don't have to use our honorifics. We can actually just speak to one another, and we can be wacky and goofy, and we can do whatever we want because it doesn't matter because we're on a TV show.
Okay. I was going to say, is it like the businessmen going out to a karaoke bar and drinking their brains out and just
but that's
coming up to.
That's actually just more of really what the corporate culture is in Japan.
Have you done this? Yeah, you have done this. Yeah, don't be ashamed.
I say
it's fun.
But okay, so we have the everything with the talk show bit, and then we have Bob when he looks in his jacket pocket and he sees the picture of Charlotte.
Yes.
Where immediately I go, Bob, buddy, I know you think you might be headed toward a divorce, but if you show up back home with a picture of that girl in your pocket, you might as well go ahead and file.
And then
And then Bob really fucks up.
And then Bob really fucks up and
Yeah.
fucks in that lovely lounge singer.
Because this is actually after he has the conversation with his wife when he's in the bath.
Yes.
too,
Yeah. He's
where
in the
it's just
bath
like-
and he having that wife. It's like, just do whatever. It's like the burgundy. She tells him about the burgundy carpet doesn't show up for at least 12 weeks or whatever.
It's like,
and she
I
wants to
don't
finish the office.
care.
Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you're acting like this, blah, blah, blah. And she tells him off. And he goes down, has a drink, and happens to slip by and fall with his dick in somebody's vajayjay. And then
it tends to happen every now and then.
and then he doesn't get caught by the wife. He gets caught by
Charlotte, which
I'm going to say
which
the
honestly-
new girlfriend.
Yeah, which honestly, I think that in more ways, he's more mortified that Charlotte caught him.
I think so. At that point, yeah.
What's-
And they have
I do love the fact that Bill Murray is ad-libbing about how mortified that he is that he slept with this woman too, because he has the sheets pulled up to his face and puts over as she's walking around singing. She's just like, oh God, oh, what did I do?
the restaurant, because I know you've eaten in a restaurant exactly like this when you were in Japan.
It's just well, they have them in the States. It's just a hot pot restaurant, and
we
the
don't have
conversation-
these. We don't have these. So
we have in the States,
I
but-
know
so-
I know what it is because I'm a foodie and I've seen so many fucking shows about food. I know what it is and what you're supposed to do when you're at that restaurant. By the way, again, it's a very working man's restaurant. It's not a fancy place, right? But all you have to do is literally pick up your pieces of meat and dunk them in the hot water to cook them,
Yep.
and then you eat them. Right? That's the whole point.
What's great about this conversation though is the fact they're sniping at each other.
Yeah.
Because she says like, "Oh, well, she is more your age anyway. You can talk about retirement."
Yeah.
And then he said like, "Oh, well, what's wrong with you? Is there no one else that can lavish the attention that you need on you?" Yeah. So they immediately know each other's triggers right off the rip.
I absolutely love the shot where he is sitting like a grown man who doesn't care because his foot is on the thing. So he's open. She's sitting like a little girl.
Pouting. Yeah.
Pouting. And I was like,
But they
So
both had colas delivered. He goes, "No, I'm gonna have a beer."
yeah. And for me is, first of all, they got what he wanted. And I was like, I was sure they're going to bring him something completely different. When he says, I want beer, it's like, they're probably going to bring him something else or something.
No,
And they brought him beer. I was like, oh, that wasn't lost in translation.
No,
That's
it's beer.
weird. And the whole point of this conversation, they have not a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. They have sort of a father-daughter relationship where the daughter caught the father doing something behind mom's back. That's sort of a conversation.
In a way, it's kind of both, where it's kind of also like again, as you said, like the new girlfriend, where like think of it this way: you're at the beginning of a relationship, but you don't quite know where you stand yet. But then this person sees you out on a date with somebody else, and they're upset about it. Where it's like, well, we weren't really there.
Yeah,
yet,
we were not
so-
exclusive. Yeah, it's
or as Ross would say in other terms, in another way, we were on a break.
And then, of course, there's an alarm, there's a fire, and then they meet outside. And somehow, in their dressing robes, where she looks down on his feet and he's wearing the
slippers.
fluffy
The slippers
bunny
are way too small
slippers.
for his feet too. And the fact that Sofia Coppola thought it would be funny to put Bill Murray in a kimono is one of the reasons why she wanted to hire him in there, and she finally got it. Kind of
Okay,
top.
that's
yeah. So
that's a little detail. And They break the tension by ragging on the restaurant. It's like, why are they making us make our own food?
And also, too, they're actually behaving like adults. This is why I really enjoy this film, because even though like she understands the fact that she has no real reason to be really upset with them, because they are nothing. They're just, if anything, they're acquaintances at best at this point. In the common parlance of a normal human interaction, this is what they are given their time together.
Yeah, they're just two strangers after all. They're not lovers. They're not.
Yeah. So when they start joking with each other and everything, and how they have that reconciliation here, where it's just like, yeah, this is how a normal adult would have a conversation with another normal adult, where it's like, you really didn't do anything wrong to me. I was behaving childish. And also, Bob was already kind of kicking himself. And I think, too, she was a little bit let down because she knew that he was married as well.
Yeah, kind of. And
bit.
she, I think at this point, she still has maybe an ideal version of
Bob,
a 20-year-old marriage or something, even though he clearly told her a few conversations ago about how in the bed scene, they're talking about long-term marriages.
Oh, when they have kids. Yeah.
How it changes you forever. And he doesn't mean just changes the relationship. He basically he's talking about himself.
Yeah.
And also I could really connect to that part where, yes, it does change the relationship, but also it really changes you, because you're in a situation where you're in a position where you take care of your family, but at a certain point you want some time for yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
And his time in Japan is his time with himself.
Mm-hmm. And what's interesting too is that when they first have their first conversation at the bar, they mentioned the fact like how long they've been married. And he says, well, 25 years. He's like, well, technically, if you think about it, you sleep a third of your life. So technically we've only been married since we were 16. Well, sorry, I'm really married
about
for
16 years.
Yeah.
I have seen that calculation before. I just don't remember where. I think it's married with children.
I believe it. I wouldn't be surprised if Al Bundy would make that joke.
I was like, I've seen this calculation before. I just don't remember when or where. And before they go up to they leave each other that conversation, they have a very much intimate conversation where they have it's sake, right?
Yeah, just drinking sake.
For sure. That those are the correct glasses, the correct bottle. It's like, and the fact that he's touching her hand while they're talking is very, very telling. And they're not standing in each other. Both their heads are leaning forward.
Mm-hmm.
Which means,
and he flat out admits that he doesn't want to leave.
Yeah. I just don't remember what she said. No, we'll leave it at that. But it's that conversation is telling. No, not that's what she said, Joe. Shut up.
Well, we have then we just have the kiss on the cheek that is leaning into them kissing.
Yes.
Essentially like twice in the elevator as kind of their sort of goodbye. And why don't we stop there?
Yes, and we'll do our second segment of the night because you know me and you know my timing. It is called Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
Screen Fighter is where we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good, both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with your significant other. Two movies in a vacuum. Which one will be? Pop in, bablam, The Little Mermaid, 1989, or There's Something About Mary. It took me a while to get to a pair that I actually wanted because most of them were either really stupid or I had a midlife crisis movie on one end, but had a very obvious, I'm not going to pick this movie
on the other one.
end.
Obviously, I'm going to have to go with There's Something About Mary, because that film is still to this day, there are some just raunchy humor jokes in there. And it inspired so many spin-off bits of comedy throughout, throughout what, the decades now. The
Yep.
Little Mermaid, while I do believe it is one of the better Disney stories, and it's definitely the better of the two versions, because the new one it's bad.
I'm not gonna watch it.
It's
but
not
okay.
because of the race swap. No, it's
No.
because the story in it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, given the character
I've heard this.
Ariel. It just
I've
doesn't
heard
make
the
any fucking
synopsis
sense.
and I've heard the music, and just by the sheer fact that they took an 89-minute movie for children and made a 2-hour and a quarter movie for children, you have missed the mark.
Yeah,
You have missed the mark. And by the way, chat, go ahead and write down your choices. They will be oddly there will not be discarded, but you might be the tip-in if it comes to both of us. I'm going to go with There's Something About Mary. I never got reconnected to Disney animation. I liked some of them, but I don't love them.
I think, how
never
old were
seen
you when that came
out. 10.
I think that might be why.
I had a weird taste in movies because like I said, remember, I watched a lot of VHSs when I grew up, not a lot of theater releases. The first theater release that I remember that I went to voluntarily was literally in 1989 to Roger Rabbit with my dad.
Okay, yeah.
Before that, my aunt took me to all the old Disney movies that got released mid-'80s in the theater.
When they opened the vault and re-released them.
I saw Snow White, Cinderella, Bambi, Dumbo, all the old stuff in the theater, in the movie theater, because they got re-released. When it came to Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Lion King, all those, I've seen him on VHSs way later because I was not interested enough.
I think that's the reason why, because I saw this when I was 5. So
yeah. To me, Something About Mary, because I like the Farrelly Brothers humor. Clue or Mars Attacks?
This is too easy.
We'll move forward. Over the Hedge or Hercules? Which one do you hate less? I think Over the Hedge is DreamWorks.
Yes.
I think so.
I'm going to have to go with Hercules because James Woods as Hades was actually kind of interesting.
Okay.
And I love Greek mythology anyway. I didn't like their interpretation of it, but
I would genuinely not go with Hercules.
That's fine.
This is the point where you can feel Michael Eisner's thumb on all of these. So Lion King was great. This was great. It's all the movies I mentioned were great. Let's continue on doing this. So you had like Prince of Egypt and Hercules, and I think they did another Tarzan, but I'm not sure if it's the same.
That was Tarzan was
1997. This is Disney animation. All the while you had Pixar distributed by Disney, but not outright owned by Disney.
Doing Toy Story. Yeah.
And they were knocking it out of the park, movie after movie after movie.
Because you're right. No, Tarzan was 99 because Collins won the Grammy over South Park the musical.
Yes. So I'm gonna go Over the Hedge. So
DreamWorks. Okay.
The Happening or Green Mile. I'm gonna keep this one because I don't like.
Side note, 8 Mile. The only reason why I even really remember that film outside of the song clearly was the fact that it was released on It was released on my birthday, my freshman year in college.
Okay, you've got one chance.
I know.
Or The Happening with Mark Wahlberg.
The only reason why I would say The Happening is because everybody knows the story of 8 Mile. The Happening is just so funny because when they have the realization, it looks like Mark Wahlberg is not quite there mentally, or he may have an extra chromosome. It's the tweeze.
Okay.
It's the tweeze.
Did he go full retard in that one? I don't
No.
remember.
It just seems like he's that fucking dumb.
All right, then I picked The Happening then.
When you watch it going, oh my God, is he all there?
All right. War of the Worlds. That's the new one with Tom Cruise and
That's an
Kung
excellent-
Fu Panda.
That's a Japanese poster
Yes.
of it. Clearly, which obviously it doesn't look like it has anything to do with the film in any way, shape, or form, which probably for the best.
All right. Which one of these two No, they're not garbage. I don't like the War of the Worlds, but it's not garbage.
Yeah.
And Kung Fu Panda is not garbage. I just don't like Jack Black.
I don't like him.
Don't like it. I don't like the humor in this particular movie as well.
No.
I've seen all three of them with my kids. I was like, The first one from all of them is the better one, but they shouldn't have made the other two.
Well, the first it made money, and the second one made money.
Well, that's the case. That's
the way it
always how
goes.
it works. I'm gonna pick the War of the Worlds. It's not a good rendition of it, but I would prefer watching it.
I like Jack Black in certain situations, in certain films. I think he's good in High Fidelity.
I agree. He's really good in Shallow Hal.
Yes, he's very good in Shallow Hal, which he was the leading man in Shallow Hal in a romantic comedy, which no one thought would work. But I thought it worked. I thought it
worked.
I
It
thought
actually
it was an
worked.
entertaining
Yep.
film, and it was really good subverting the genre. I thought it was great. And then obviously with Tenacious D, that's his band. It was supposed to be just wacky and really fucking dumb. But everything else he does, like I didn't even like him in School of Rock. I found him insufferable in School of Rock.
Whoever put him in fucking Kong needs to be shot. Oh, it's Peter Jackson. Never mind.
Oh God, that movie's so bad.
That movie
Why did you
sucked.
remind me of that? Oh,
It had Adrian Brody in it. Do you remember what Adrian Brody ever did in that movie? I don't even remember.
No, he was technically the protagonist of the film too, right?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even remember. It was so bad. I
Because-
don't even like King Kong movies, but that one was particularly
It was him
bad.
and Naomi Watts, right?
Yeah, Naomi Watts, yeah.
Yeah.
War of the
Bad
Worlds,
movie.
it is. Last pairing, I guess? Maybe
Yeah,
not.
Sunshine. That's
Sunshine?
That's easy. Yeah.
Right, cool. This one's the last one.
That
Tropic
is a
Thunder.
fantastic Tropic Thunder. I love that poster.
And National Treasure, which is very, very underrated. It's a very good Indiana Jones movie starring Nicolas Cage.
Paul, I highly recommend watching Sunshine if you get the chance
Yeah.
to. It's fantastic. I have to go with Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, I have to.
Because
I have to
I could
too.
turn on Tropic Thunder any day of the week and just be like, or just turn on. Well, they wouldn't show it on cable anymore because there's too much to bleep out anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Stupid heads.
Oh, yeah. Lex, the first King Kong's is a classic, but
No, the Peter
Jackson
Jackson King Kong.
as I said, he walked out of Jackson, so it's like, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's just a bad film.
I think
It's a
the
terrible
first
film.
King Kong movie I saw was the Jessica Lange version. Jessica Lange. Is it Jessica Lange? It's the 80s one.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I just want to make sure. 1978, but I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
it in the 80s in a VHS. But in 1978, there's a I would say cool for me, but it's a moment where the Kong is like, oh, this lady needs to be naked, and he does like flick. He's like, oh, what are you doing? That's a horny motherfucker. He did like this, and he like
I know.
took her dress off. Like, hello? I mean,
I don't know. The King Kong no understand physics.
yes, it's the one with Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges is the main, the main protagonist, and Jessica Lange is the female lead.
Mm-hmm.
And she is still not good looking. Holy shit. What? Never understood why Jessica Lange was such a big deal in terms of looks. I mean, after all her surgeries, maybe not, but fuck. Never mind. All right, so have that.
Well, I never understood why Margot Kidder was ever a thing. Like,
ditto.
She can't
she
act.
And she's not good looking.
Yeah, and she's crazy, apparently.
And she's very, very dead now. She's one of those 2016 victims, I think.
Yeah.
Right. So they have that that conversation in the elevator. They do the kiss on the cheek twice, which was odd.
But they're turning in. Like, she turns into it. So like looks like she wants to give him a kiss goodbye, you know.
Yeah. And then cut to the next morning where he goes down the stair.
The next morning, the first shot is she gets a fax from her husband.
Yeah, that's right. Where he's staying on a couple.
No,
of
he's
more
saying,
days.
"Look, can't wait to see you."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even read it.
Yeah.
But the next shot is him I literally have it queued up, is him on the phone calling.
It's like, well, I guess you can keep my jacket because you stole it.
Yeah. I was like, why are you being mean?
No, that's their repertoire though. That's the way that they communicate.
I know.
Subtle
I
little
know.
jabs and stuff where it's like, no, it's funny and she's gonna get it and it's endearing in a way.
And when there's that woman there where when they do the photo shoot, she turns around.
Blonde actress that walks up to him.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Bob, how you doing? Blah 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 blah. And he's like, and he sees.
You could almost just see him look over at her and just mush her in the face. Like, no.
Yeah. Move away. Because on the corner of his eye, he sees Charlotte with his jacket. Because of that phone call, she understood the thing and she brought him the jacket. I don't think she actually heard the message. I think she was already on the way
coming
down to bring him his jacket.
Yeah. Because there wasn't enough time for her to go get the message, hear the message, grab the jacket, get in the elevator, go downstairs.
Yeah. And the thing is, when he drives off in I think it's a limo, right? They got him a limo.
Yeah, it's more like a town car.
Because I thought it was, whatever.
Yeah.
I thought for a second it's a taxi. Because you see him inside the car, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of starts to drive off. And then he says, just stop, because he sees her blonde hair, because nobody's there is blonde, right?
It's pretty easy to tell.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to tell. It's like, stop. It's like, what taxi driver is going to stop? And when he gets out, it's like, oh, it's a fucking town car. Obviously, duh. And he comes in, and they have that moment where I would really love to stay here, but this is just this is just a fleeting thing. You're going to find your way. I'm going to go back to my old ways and we'll done with it. But we had that moment.
What's interesting is the fact that there was actually a scripted couple of words that he was supposed to say.
Yes, because
They cut it out, so they just actually had what actually the words that are spoken are actually never confirmed.
interesting. Because I thought they did it on purpose to muffle what he says in order to keep it ambiguous and let us believe whatever we want to believe.
That's exactly the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
So I got it right. Yes.
But what was actually said between Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson there,
Mhm.
no one knows.
Okay.
Besides the two
And
of them.
what-
They're the
was
only
that,
two who know.
so it was scripted in a certain way?
It was scripted, so he'll say, "I'll miss you too."
Okay.
That was
But-
supposed to be, but no.
But they
Sophia didn't
ad-libbed it
want
to
that.
something else, and then they
Yeah.
either muffled it or just kept the volume down, or whatever they did.
Yeah.
Because it sounded artificially muted. Not muted, but muffled. Sorry, muffled. Because you can hear a word or something from him, but not more than this. And you can hear a lot of the city kind of the white noise from the
noise, yeah.
city. And I liked it. I liked it ambiguous, whether or not he's just give her some, I don't know, some pep talk to bring her.
Which I think in so
I-
many
I-
ways, the ambiguity of the scene works so well because, again, you could take your own interpretation out of it. And that's what really this film really is about more than anything. It's more of what you take away from the film than what the film gives you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Lofty had a really good point earlier. The fact, like, this film really speaks to people who are more kind of introverted or has ever dealt with some kind of depression or some kind of crisis in their own life.
I hear you, Lex.
Yeah, it could do
For
that.
people who, dude, there are a certain amount of population. I can't put it in numbers, but there's a certain amount of population that watch movies, and if there's no like hard ending, it just drives them crazy. You want to call it OCD, you want to call it ADD type deal. No, it's not necessarily those people. My wife hates it when it's very ambiguous and there's open to interpretation. In some movies and in other movies, like, oh, this was interesting. So it's sort of a, from movie to movie, some movies you really want to know the ending. What's the ending? What's the end point in this? And yeah, it can drive people crazy. And this is why people sometimes watch this particular movie or this kind of movies, and they was like, this fucking movie, I didn't like it. And yeah, it doesn't speak to everyone. It needs to. It doesn't have a broad stroke. It's not a comic book movie. It's not a big action set piece movie. It's just a jumble of stories, you might say. And you said it before. It's like blocks of stuff.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's constructed that way.
In so many ways, I like to think of it more of a slice of life.
Yes.
It's more of just a set of circumstances that happen to have occurred during 1 week, and that's it. It's no life-changing, life-altering set of circumstances like most films are, because in the character they have to have this grand narrative where something life-altering happens to the character. Like in romantic comedies, they end up together at the end and they're happy together forever and ever and all that.
But the thing is, there is a life-altering moment in this movie.
I think there is, in a way.
It comes at the end when you realize these two people's lives separately has been altered in a way. We don't know the way because the movie has ended, right? We can only hypothesize or think
Yeah,
about
because you
things.
don't know if if Charlotte's going to go back to just ignoring the glaring problems in her marriage and just
Or maybe
placate.
it's her eye-opening moment where she's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
can do something better with my
Or
life.
or the same thing with Bob, where Bob is just he goes back to his mundane routine and just forgets about this one potential, again, life-altering
Yeah.
experience that he had. So,
But like we said, it kept ambiguous. Now, I was gonna go on a rant, but I forgot what it was. Never mind.
it was about small budgets.
Oh, not about small budgets. My rant, just to wrap things up. We kind of said what we needed to say, but what I wanted to touch upon for at least a couple of minutes, while I have you here and the audience.
What I was going to do is like, well, what I was going to say was, and I was going to close the screen. It's like, leave it open ended.
No, I'm not going to leave it open ended. My mini rant is about the one thing that came out from this week after watching The Flash and watching other things that unfold this week in terms of independent works that are coming out this week and a few months back is I'm really hoping we are on, because the whole comic book genre movie is on the decline and a lot of blockbuster movies are just not cutting it. The Little Mermaid, Pixar stuff are not doing so well. And this is not a dunk on Disney right now. It's like a lot of stuff are failing and they're not supposed to fail because they seem like they have a broad stroke and they have a high appeal.
Ways, it's like the banking crisis. We're too big to fail. Because that's the way it's supposed to be. Because it's when Disney releases a new film, it's gonna make what $400 or $500 million because it's a Disney film.
The thing for me is the fact that there's a lot of, and this is along with the comic book movie genre, is a lot of reboots, remakes, redones, and not from stuff like, oh, it's been done in the 50s, we can do a better job in the 2020s. No, it's like literally from the 2010s, we'll update it to the 2023s.
They have the concept of reimagining things where they have to change it completely, which doesn't.
And here comes, and there, that's my rant. The rant is the fact that you can make very relatively low budget movies that you can invest in new IPs, new things that you can tell, new stories. There are so many stories out there that you can do and invest time and money in, and make sure when you invest time and money in, you budget your movie correctly and you block it, even if it's a blockbuster type movie. My example is Sisu. Have you seen Sisu?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. You know what the budget was?
Was it
€6 million?
Okay, so that's about what, $7-8 million?
It's $8-9 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Whether or not it recouped it, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Whether it on the theatrical side, if it didn't do well, it really will live on in licensing to streaming services.
Which I think that is really what the big issue is now. There's no real reason to go rush out and see a movie anymore.
And this is why you need to make sure you make stories. It doesn't, like I said, doesn't have to be an action story like Sisu. It could be like a very small movie, like Lost in Translation, like these odd little movies.
Well, like Sideways last week.
Sideways. High fidelity, those type of movies, those indie Clerks, these type of movies where you get small time creators, maybe even like veterans in the industry, but let them do their own stories. The one that I can bring up is The Last Deal, where I covered it a few months back with the director, and the director's like, I've done this, I've done this, and I've done that, but yet he did a movie and he did it with about $350,000. And the movie is legit an hour and a half action type movie, action and heist and all that, gritty, bloody. It's R-rated, but it just because of the gore and violence, that's about it. And you can do it. You can actually do it and tell these small stories. Don't go all like bring it back from the multiverse to the verse, okay? And create new IPs. Maybe you'll stumble into a Lethal Weapon, okay? Maybe you'll stumble into a Beverly Hills Cop. Maybe you'll stumble into, I don't know, a Die Hard. I'm just giving you, these are more action-y type things, but I'm generally talking about maybe you'll make an I Love You Man for $3.5 million and make not 100, you make 40 million. It's still profitable, and you make people go to the theaters and watch this, and then make it maybe just a limited release, and then move into licensing in terms of streaming service.
Thing is, that's again, I think that's what the real change and the big sea change. What happened is really, again, the pandemic really took that all away when people became so onboarded with streaming services. Because before, yes, you had your Netflix, yes, you had Hulu, yes, you had they were out there, but they didn't have this massive influx of their customer base. And they are losing some now, but
the problem with the
licensing
streaming service, the
Go ahead.
problem with the streaming services is the fact that they need new blood, and
Yes.
they don't have it when you've got these big blockbuster type movies, and everybody's keeping it in house. Sony's keeping it in house, Universal keeping it in house, and they can't sustain their streaming service with just in house things.
stuff.
This is what Disney is learning now. Disney is big time failing with Disney Plus. It's not about losing the 4 million subscribers the last quarter. It's not about that. It's the fact that there is nothing there. And like I told you, they're not releasing stuff from their vault because they're keeping it for something else. It's like, dude.
Well, we already talked about the reason why they're doing that.
Yeah, I know. You're keeping it because you want to release it somewhere. You can't. It's not about releasing it in a certain type of version. It's the fact that if you put it on your service, it will entice people to come and watch your new stuff.
Yeah.
Look at what they did, and I give them wholehearted praise. They have Indiana Jones 5 coming out. Whether it's going to be a good movie or a bad movie, whatever, it's going to be bad. But
we know that already. But
promotionally, what did they do? Oh, you bought Fox? You have Indiana Jones? Oh, why don't you just re-release all 4 movies on your platform, including the Young Indiana Jones series on your platform a month before your mega release? Oh, fucking thank you, Meth, because you talked about this fucking months ago.
Yeah. But what I was referring to more is with the streaming service model is the fact they're seeing the fact that the pandemic really showed the fact that there is such a limited time frame where you cannot just outright either own the film, digital, Blu-ray, whatever, or you could wait another month or two and it'll be on a streaming service that you already have. Like, well, do I need to go out and see this movie? I heard it was kind of meh anyway. So before you have like you go out on Friday nights on your movie nights and things like that.
But the thing
now
is,
it's slowly changing where it's like you have to be enticed in order to see a film, and that we're not getting that anymore. We're getting the same again, like you said, the same old garbage where it's just rehashes, reboots, reimaginings.
This is where I'm coming with this is the fact that when you create new IPs and they're actually good. Mm-hmm. The word of mouth will send people to the theaters even if they can watch it on streaming service. You want a fucking proof, new IP, not a lot of money put into it, and relatively speaking, it's still in the theaters and it's now in streaming service, and it's been on streaming service for a while. It's still in the theaters. You know what movie is that? Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, yeah.
It is. I checked it. It is almost 9 weeks in the theaters. I can go and watch it today in the theater near me right now. There's one screen that still has it, and it's still going, and it's still making not a ton of money, but a little bit of money. They are squeezing every bit of it in terms of cash. It's been on streaming service for about a month.
Yeah, well, that's very true, and I think that Paul has a great point here because it's again, there's nothing that is inherently creating FOMO, or
the FOMO.
something that you need to have seen to be part of the cultural zeitgeist anymore.
You have to create new IPs. Yeah. You'll fail in some, but you'll fail in $5 million or $10 million rather
not
than
$250 million. Yeah,
exactly. All right, cool, brother. That is it. That is Lost in Translation. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, your task is to go and watch American Beauty from 1999. Yes, it's gonna be Kevin Spacey, but it's delightful. It's not delightful.
Hey,
but
in a way, if you don't like him, just wait till the end of the movie.
Yeah, if you don't like Kevin Spacey and you haven't seen the movie, you're pretty much gonna like this movie. Special guest, the Shagworth, and maybe, I'm not promising anything, Nick Rekieta's coming back. Not promising anything. It's a big maybe, but the Shagworth is going to be here. You'll get to meet him. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. And he already sent me some insights about it, and I was like, good. All right. Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And again, if you want to interact with the show, you want to interact with me at Mephisto on Twitter, at Mephisto79 on Instagram. And you can always email the show, the Reel McCoy podcast at gmail.com. And I thank you for watching, and I bid you good night.
See you next week.
You're still here? It's over.